Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and I'm here to talk about a Song of Ice and Fire character. And which one? Well, Garth VII Gardener, called Garth the Goldenhand. Yeah, way back there, way back in the lore. Over there, way back there, way in the back. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. If you don't know what's going on here, pause this, read this. Definitely spoilers for the books and for the show, although less than normal because all this takes place thousands of years between the main books and the show. But you know, maybe something there. I don't know. I'm just covering my bases. So yeah, let's just go back in time. This is hopefully going to be a shorter one. I got a lot less slides than normal, but I might rant and rave. And almost this entire character is pulled from half of a page in the A World of Ice and Fire book. I added a little bit here and there, but it's pretty much just pulled right off of like one page from the World of Ice and Fire. Is it still next to me? It's right here. I like when my research is just, all right, like that was his character. So yeah, let's talk about it. Garth Goldenhand, Garth VII, called Garth Goldenhand or Garth the Goldenhand. Just all right. I already screwed that. Called the Goldenhand or Garth Goldenhand. I start calling him all kinds of weird stuff later on. Was a king of the Reach and head of House Gardener way before the Targaryens came over on their dragons. Right. Garth is considered the greatest gardener king in the history of the Reach for his deeds both in war and in peace. He became king at 12 and reigned for 81 years. Holy shamola. Until he died. Do I do a Poochie's dead for this character? We'll find out. Because he dies, but I mean, it was a super long time. It was a long time ago. Maybe I will. We'll see. But yeah, so that's what we're talking about. So huge grain scooping of salt, right? Because this is a character from way back in the day. It could have, the way that the history is told in this is we don't know if any of this actually happened. It could be multiple characters smashed into one. It could be 7 different Garth Goldenhands. It's Garth the Seventh. I'm saying that history can be changed and misrepresented later on. But we're going to pretend like everything that we're talking about for sure happened. Kind of, what was the other characters from way back in the day I covered? Was it Benedict Justman, right? So that was another one where it was like, we know just a couple paragraphs from way back then. But yeah, let's get into House Gardener. So this would have been the Kings of the Reach before the coming of the Andals and before the Tyrells took over, right? So House Gardener. House Gardener of Highgarden is an extinct house of the old famed Kings of the Reach, beginning with the mythical first king, Garth the Gardener, who was the son of the mythical Garth Greenhand. And the Gardeners ruled through war and peace and the assimilation with the Andals, which is after the character we're talking about today, through generations until the last Gardener king, Mern the Ninth. His name's Mern, and his kin were killed at the Field of Fire during Aegon's conquest. So all this is way before, is what we're talking about, right? The kings of House Gardener initially ruled Reach proper, focused on Highgarden and the Mander River, but over time they used their claim of descending from Garth the Gardener to claim supremacy over neighboring kings and lords, and their seat was Highgarden. There are many Gardener kings and even one queen, sat upon the living throne called the Oaken Seat. I don't have any things to talk about with the Oaken Seat later, and I don't know why I left it out. They sat on a growing tree called the Oaken Seat. Maybe it was oak. Maybe it was weirwood. Maybe these guys are green seers. Sitting on a throne. Come on, man. Like, so much symbolism. Your head just explodes there. The Gardener kings wore crowns of vines and flowers, at peace in crowns of bronze, thorns, and then later iron when they rode into war. So there we go. So now let's actually talk about Garth. Goth. Dorsch. Right? All right. The Boy King. Greatest of all the gardeners was King Garth VII the Goldenhand, a giant in both war and peace. As a boy, he turned back the Dornish when King Ferris Fowler's Day Off led 10,000 men through the Wide Way, which is later just called the Prince's Pass, intent on conquest. So King Ferris Bueller Fowler tried to conquer the Reach, like they rode into the Reach, intent on some conquest. And then, yeah, this 12-year-old was like, no, dude, get back to school. And then, like, pushed him back out. That's nuts. 12-year-old? Jeez. So soon after that, he turns attention to the Sunset Sea and drove the last Iron Men from their strongholds on the Misty Isles. And then he renamed them the Shield Isles. And thereafter, resettled the islands with his own fiercest fighters, granting them special dispensations for the purpose of turning them into a first defense against the Ironborn shall they receive. They were a shield. Right? Shields. Okay, there were Shield Islands. So yeah, this proved a great success, and to this day, the 4 Shield Islands pride themselves on defending the mouth of the Mander and the heart of the Reach against all sea-born foes, until Euron Greyjoy just completely destroyed it. Dude was great. In his last and greatest war, Garth Goldenhand faced an alliance between the Storm King and the King of the Rock, intent on carving up the Reach between them. These guys failed because Garthy defeated them both, and then with cunning words caused such discord between them that they turned on one another with a giant slaughter at the Battle of the Three Armies. In the aftermath, he married his daughters to their heirs and signed a pact with each, fixing the borders between the 3 kingdoms. This guy's awesome, man. Like, he's like fighting him back up, and then when he's like fighting the King of the Rock, he's like, hey man, I heard the Storm King called you fat. And then he's like fighting the Storm King, and he's like, hey, I heard the King of the Rock said your mom's ugly or whatever. And then they're like, what? And then they started fighting each other. Classic Garthy, right? Where was I? I was here. And then Darsh Goldilocks' greatest war was greatest. So yeah, this was his greatest. Oh my God, I got distracted by my own dumb nicknames for him. Darsh Goldilocks. This was his greatest war, but not his greatest achievement, and that was boasting 3/4 of a century of peace. Garth Goldenpaw became King of the Reach at age 12 and then died on the Oaken seat when he was 93. Still sound of wits, but frail of body. Yeah, he's 93. Come on. The Whale King. During the 81 years of his reign, the Reach was at war for less than 10 of them. This makes old King Jerry's reign look like crap. Generations of boys were born and grew to manhood, sired children of their own, and died with never knowing what it was like to grasp a spear and shield and march away to war. And with this long peace came unprecedented prosperity. Who knew that war was actually bad? The Golden Reign, as it was come to be called, was when the Reach truly flowered. Yet all golden ages end, and so it was in the Reach. Garth Goldenhand passed from this world. A great-grandson followed him on the Oaken seat, then it gave away to his own sons, and then the Andals came. It's cool the Sage Kings handled it. Yeah, so he was probably a few generations before the generations known as the 3 Sage Kings that ruled during the coming of the Andals, right? So, yeah. Should I play it? Poochie's dead? I don't know if I can. No, I don't have it queued up. All right, well, I'm not going to. But yeah, so that was him. All right, so I actually found some theories other than just the oaken seat being very much Blood Raven's freaking sitting on the Weirwood throne. You're sitting on a living tree throne. You sure it wasn't Weirwood? You sure it was oak? I don't believe you. All right, so Jamie Goldenhand. So this is a small character because we're already done, right? But believe it or not, I found me a theory. Goldie Lion on Golden Lion, not Goldie Lion, Golden Lion on Westeros.org. And I also believe they made a post on Reddit as well. Made a post in 2018 called Jamie and Garth VII Gardener Foreshadowing. So in this post, they propose that Garth Sevenhand's story is foreshadowing for Jamie Lannister's fate. That fate is Jamie taking the throne and being a great leader and helping the small folk and ruling for like 80 years, right? So that's fun and all, but I do not see that as very likely. In fact, I don't see that happening at all. I give that less than a 1% chance. I think his name is less of a hint for Jamie and more of a play on Garth Greenhand because he was Goldhand, Greenhand, Goldhand. I don't know if it's much of a an actual like hint at the fate of Jamie, but yeah, there you guys go. Small character today. Cool. I've been making so many 45 and 48-minute videos. It's good to just like rock one out for you guys. So click like, subscribe if you haven't. What'd you guys think of Garth the Seventh Gardener, the Golden Hand, Goldilocks himself? And yeah, tell me in the comments. And that's all I got. Do you think Jamie's gonna sit the Iron Throne and rule forever? I mean, maybe you do. I don't think that, but maybe you do. All right. Peace.